Greetings everyone. Welcome to Just Advanced, and this game is played in round four of St. Louis Rapid and Blitz. This is from the Blitz section, and definitely going to be one of the insane games. This is a match between prodigies and prodigies. We have with the white pieces Nodirbek Abdusattorov, and with the black pieces current reigning world champion we have Gukesh, and this game is going to be an absolute epic one. So without further ado, let's start with this game. Here, just e4 by Abdusattorov. We have e5 by Gukesh, knight to f3. And now just going for this knight to c6, we have bishop to b5 going for the rule Lopez. We have a6, bishop captures and d captures. We go into the exchange variation of Murphy's defense. Castles, queen to f6 and just d4. Looks a bit weird to get your queen out of the way right from the opening, but Gukesh has something prepared. We have e captures, bishop to g5, attacking the queen, queen moves, and now just knight caps on d4. Now comes this bishop to e7, asking for a trade. If you trade, then you've just exchanged your developed piece with a non-developed piece. That's not the way to play chess. We have knight to f6, but now just comes this f3, getting the structure very, very nice. One of these positions where you can play f3 safely, castles, but now just comes knight to d2, c5, and now just this knight to c4. Both knights are looking absolutely amazing, and here in this position you have to be very much careful. Queen is attacked, so you have to move it somewhere. Queen to d8, but now just comes this queen to knight to e2, b6, knight to f4, and now just going for this b5. We have queen captures on d8, rook captures, and now just going for this knight to a5. If you want to fiend care to the bishop, it's always going to be a problem, and here there is no square for that bishop to develop to, so that bishop development would be an issue. Bishop to d6 now, just asking for maybe just going for that knight. a4, but now just comes rook to e8. A captures, knight to b3, but now just comes rook captures, and just c4, attacking the bishop, attacking the knight, and knight to c5 was played. Knight to c5 is by far not the best move by white. You have to find this knight to d4. I mean, you asked some questions from black. I like, what is this weak backwards pawn doing here, and how are you going to defend it? Probably with like bishop to d7, but then again, you ask the second question, what do you do after rook to a5, like piling up on this pawn? And if you want to play this, now this pawn becomes weak, so I just go for this, and now you're going to have to play a passive move. Obviously not that. Now you're going to have to play a passive move like this to try and defend the bishop, and white's position is absolutely amazing. Knight on d4 and f4 are absolutely beautiful. Bishop somewhere along the line is going to be active, and rook and the knight is always active, so Gukesh is going to have to suffer a little to be able to defend this position. But then again, I mean, he has suffered very, very insanely to be able to be the world chess champion, so I guess he can maybe just defend this, and he has defended far worse positions, so I think it would be a piece of cake. But here after c4, knight to c5 was played, and this is not a good move. That is a bad knight. You can even trade it for the bishop, but here just knight to d7 was played. Knight captures, bishop captures, and just going for this g4. Immediately starting an attack, we have bishop to e5, rook to a7, and now same questions are being asked. What are you doing about those weak pawns, because you can never push them, and that bishop would be attacked. Bishop to c6 now, but now just going for this c3. Bishop to c6 is a very beautiful move, because here what you want to do in this position is you want to play this rook to 8, because this is a very strong rook, and if you trade that rook, obviously you have to trade it. There is no other squares, so after rook captures, bishop captures, knight to e2, just trying to go for this, and after bishop goes to f6, maybe you just continue with your quest. I mean, you get the king into the game, push those pawns. Obviously you have to defend it first, so you can also go for this knight to g3 instead of this king, and maybe just push those pawns, and you'll have a very fine game. But here after c3, we have g6 by Gukesh, and you have to be a little bit careful, not that a lot, but little bit careful. Here g5, a very annoying move, honestly speaking. There is no other way to actually try and push these pawns. Both of those create weaknesses in the position and imbalanced endgame, so definitely not a good not a good way to deal with this. But here after rook to d8, just going for this rook to a1, b4, knight to e2, and you could go for a very fine line here after like b captures, and again rook to 8. Rook to 8 is a crucial move in this position, because after rook captures, bishop captures, with two bishops you'll be able to hold this bishop and a knight. Because here if you play a move like f4, because that comes with a tempo, so this pawn is not immediately attacked. And here after bishop to g7, probably a move like this would be absolutely great, or even better, just push e5, lock this bishop out, and once then you have to get the bishop here, maybe here, and but you'll never be able to push this, so that's a win. On the other hand, this bishop becomes absolutely amazing, but it's a trade-off. But here after knight to e2, we have f6, and this f6 move just doesn't make sense, because, well, why are you playing f6? I told you, this creates weakness in the position. You have to understand that, and f6 definitely does that. Also, if you trade and bishop captures, you have to understand that these two pass pawns have now a safe haven, and you create that e pawn to be a pass pawn, and you don't want that to happen. But here we have just bishop to d4, and this bishop to d4 is an absolutely beautiful move. Now next is going to come is rook to a6, attacking the bishop, and you'll have knight on the central square, so you'll be double attacking, and also that one will be weak. So The position is very, very bad now. King to f7, but just g captures. Now king captures, but now just going for this rook to a6, and now this comes with a pin. But Gukesh in time trouble was not able to see that. He was just 10 seconds down on the clock, while Abdusattorov had like 30 seconds. So here rook to d6 was played, but now it's still actually winning for him. Bishop to c5, attacking the rook. I mean, that was not the idea here. The idea was something else. Can you see the move here? The move is actually going for this bishop captures on e5. Took me a while to understand this, why it works, because here after king captures, now you have this very nice, not grabbing anything, not even knight to d4, but this very nice rook to a5 check, cutting off the king. Now where do you go? Let's say you go to king to e6, but now just knight to d4 check. If you try to go back, now comes this beautiful move, which is e5, and now your rook is trapped, unfortunately for you. But now just, and instead after this, like this check, if you go for this king to f6, then this is just, I mean, completely over. Now it's that comes to the check, it's completely over. There is no way you could survive this. But here after rook to d6, bishop to c5 was played, and maybe there's just some hope in this position after all, because Abdusattorov blundered the move. And here we have rook to e6, but now just f4. It's a blitz game, you cannot expect them to find everything. But now just comes bishop captures, we have pawn captures, b captures, b3, but now just going for this e5 check. King moves, and now just bishop to a3 was played, king to e4, but now comes the killer blow, knight to d4. And now it was on this move, Gukesh Tomaraju, current reigning world champion, resigned the game because he had very local time on the clock and he completely blundered it, because now you cannot save all the pieces. I mean, rook is attacked, bishop is attacked, and it is double attacked as well. So it was on just move 37 that he resigned the game. And definitely amazing game by Nodirbek Abdusattorov. He was able to find the right initiative. Maybe just he missed a couple of moves, couple of tactics in the middle game, but certainly he played really well with that g5 move. Was absolutely amazing. If I think Gukesh hadn't played that f6, his position would be absolutely fine, and this would have been ended in a draw. But then again, it's a blitz game, you cannot expect them to find everything. But yeah, it's fine. Maybe just Gukesh will bounce back and play spectacular chess in the next round, and I'll be seeing you in covering the next round, best games of either Gukesh or either someone else. We'll see. So yeah, thank you all for watching. I'll be coming back with games like these, so stay tuned to the channel, subscribe to the channel, and I'll be seeing you guys very soon. Thank you, everyone.